Okay, welcome everybody to this month's edition of Blabbing Business. We have taken a little bit of a hiatus for the holidays, and we are back with you monthly now. And you can always find us with the hashtag Blabbing Business. And I'm joined as usual by Jana Herbison of J. Herbison Communications. Hey, Jana.
Hey,
and Sean Sandy with the Selling Agency. Hello, Sean.
Hey.
We'll start off if y'all want to describe your business briefly, and then we'll go from there just so everybody joining us knows a little bit about who we are.
Awesome.
Jana?
Right. Sure. My picture's a little frozen, but I'm going to try to keep a smile plastered on my mouth so I'll at least be smiling. No, I'm kidding. No, thanks so much, Lisa. We're so glad to be back. My business, as you said, is J. Herbison Communications. That mainly encompasses public relations and marketing, and just general communications for clients across the board. So we are based in Memphis. We operate in Memphis, some in Nashville and West Tennessee, a little bit beyond. But we're excited to be here. So thanks.
All right,
awesome.
Sean?
My name is Sean Carroll Sandy, and I am the Chief Revenue Officer of the Selling Agency. We're a strategy and action firm, and we help our clients. We coach them how to sell one human to another. We work with them mainly to help them really deeply differentiate their offer and their go-to-market strategy, and then profoundly connect and communicate with their clients to compel them to purchase from them.
So, all right, and I'm Lisa Busby, and I am LMCB Social. I do social media marketing for businesses, and I work with local businesses here in the Memphis area. My background actually is from journalism, so I've done a little bit of everything within the media realm, but I love social media, so that's where I fall. So we started off today, and we kind of put out a call to let people know we'd be taking their questions. If they had anything related to our areas of expertise, they can type it in the right column there and let us know, and we can toss it around and, give you our perspective on either problems you're dealing with, interesting things you've seen lately within your business, any, just problems that you have. I'd also ask that if y'all don't mind hitting the tweet bird or the post on Facebook on the left, we would so greatly appreciate it. That just means so much to us. I kind of live by likes and dream of hashtags. So anyway, but while we're waiting on some questions, do y'all have anything that you've seen recently that you'd like to talk about, kind of a case study going on in your realm?
Within our realm or in general? In the public
either one, whatever y'all want to talk about. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can talk one situation that I've been dealing with that I hope helpful for clients as they're considering hiring communications professionals. Dealing with public relations professionals or communications professionals mainly deal not in the business end of a client's business. In other words, we're there to communicate, get the word out. The only business perspective that we're usually involved in is marketing and ad placement. We do negotiate that. But what I've been trying to educate clients, and one particular client, is when it comes to negotiations that involve finances outside of that, especially if you're a smaller business, it's best to stick with your accountant or your attorney or somebody in the industry that knows about those transactions rather than try to pull your communications professional into that. It's real important when you hire when you hire an accountant, your money. When you hire a lawyer, you're hoping you're not going to have to deal with legalities. But when you hire a communications professional, we want you to know what you're getting when you hire us, and we want you to know what our limitations are, because we don't deal with legal situations, and we don't deal,
Jana, you're cutting in your video is gone and your audio is cutting in and out. I don't know, Sean, are you experience the same thing?
Yes. Yeah. It actually says there's an open seat now. So I don't know where
right.
Jana disappeared to.
So Jana, try to
finances.
I'm going to say log out and log back in, and let's try to get you back. I'm hoping you can hear me because we've lost you totally. But I think what Jana was saying was basically and I think this happens to us all sometimes. Those of us who provide services, clients may come to you and ask you to perform duties that are outside your realm of services. Mm-hmm. And so it's always a good thing. And this is why I love, networking with other professionals. And it's always good to have people that you can go to in your back pocket, that you can refer your clients to, but don't ever take on something that is outside your realm of expertise. You can always tell them you can help them out, and then you go make that phone call to the person who really knows what they're doing in that, because you can run a reputation really quickly.
Well, you're first and, sort of like with medical professionals, what is their motto? Is first do no harm. So you have to keep in mind, the way you operate as someone who is, advising or counseling or, guiding strategy, is if it's not within the strategy, why are they asking you to do this? And two, what would you advise them to do? You can't just take on everything because, hey, I can make money doing this. So you have to sort of first do no harm. And then you're right. It is really important that you create a network of professionals outside of your scope, outside of your, your area of expertise that you can trust, that can, you can refer people to.
Right. And because I guess most of my, people come to me wanting to know other PR and marketing questions, or if I know somebody who does, other services besides mine. And so I do generally, have some good contacts to help them out. So that's, but I'd say also, if you're within a large corporation, don't forget your resources that you have within your own business and your contacts there. Because I feel like sometimes corporations are so large, they forget about, something. HR might have a list to help you out for other divisions that might be able to help you. Because it's so important, especially and I love this that we're doing with our 3 areas of expertise, because it's so important, no matter what your area is in your corporation, especially the larger it is, to know and to have some knowledge about the other divisions, because there are no more silos these days, and you have to be able to know what's going on, not to do somebody else's job, but you have to know what's going on in the other divisions, I think, for everybody to operate at 100%.
Right. And when, you bring up something really interesting. So when people refer us, which is, great sales strategy, we all want, pre-qualified, great leads, and people refer us. It's not because people don't refer us because of our capabilities. They refer people to us because of our competencies. So not necessarily our capabilities, but it's our competencies. So when you are, marketing or building your selling messages, think in terms of not talking about your capabilities, but your competencies. I am an expert in this because I know this, because I understand this, my experiences in this. Is very, very different than talking about your capabilities, which is, I can do this. You could be, jack of all trades and a master of none. You could have 1,000 capabilities, but it doesn't mean you're competent in any of them.
True. How do you think is the best way of vetting that? Without spending the money first and finding out on the back end. I see that happen a lot in different areas.
I just went through that this week. Actually, I pulled the trigger on an investment that I was kind of sweating. And I know that these people have the competencies, I know they have the capabilities, but they weren't necessarily, the proposal wasn't great, and so it made me really nervous. So here's what I did. I participated in my own buying journey. I participated by pushing back, by asking questions, by saying, I'm not comfortable with these terms because this, and this. I'm not clear what the milestones and what the payment milestones are. You have to participate in your own buying journey versus letting someone else do all of that for you, which is what, brings the challenge to selling. But game on. I love those challenges, and as sellers, we should. But yeah, it's really, I knew they had the capabilities. I knew they were competent, but their messaging and their proposal did not necessarily demonstrate that. So I actually helped them with their proposal by telling them what I needed and asking a lot of questions, and not being pressured to sign anything. They want to get a deal done. I want the deal done because I want to move forward on doing something. But I really had to just sort of, be my own guide. I listened to my gut too. My gut told me that this was the right thing to do, but I wasn't necessarily comfortable with what, how they'd wrap the package. I wanted what's in the package. I didn't like how they wrapped the package.
Well, and that goes back to, I know what I deal with and what Jana deals with PR and communications, perception. You have to really be cognizant of what you're doing, but also the perception that other people have of you. Is that truly reflective of what you're doing? And I think that requires some constant evaluation, and not just from your perspective. I think you've got to have, as you refer, your tribe. You've got to have those people that you can really rely on to tell you the truth and give you some good feedback and reflection. Yeah.
Truth tellers in your tribe, for sure.
Right.
Welcome back, Jana. You look much better.
Thank you. I'm live.
It looks like it's a better connection. Do you want to jump in and talk about perception, and as far as
perception in general? I caught about the last couple of sentences.
Yeah, that's what I didn't know what you heard. Kind of, I had jumped off something that Sean was talking about, but it kind of led to what a business is putting out there and really truly what they're doing, but how they're perceived, and things that they can do to make sure they're perceived not authentically, but that their message reflects truly what they do. Different from authentically, but ties in.
No, absolutely. And I don't know how much you had heard of what I said previously, but other part of that was that businesses really have to know who they are before you can tell other people who they are. And I think that sounds so simple, but a lot of times they really don't have that conception really in place. And so it's so important that they have such a strong identity within their, organization or company before they try to get it out there. And then, once they do and they know who they are and who they're not, and that sometimes is a process. I know at least one or two clients, who wanted me to just throw everything out there, and we had to kind of scale back and say, wait a minute, what do you do? What do you not do? Who are you? You don't want to seem like you're not competitive, but you don't want expectations to be too high either. So you have to find a good balance between that before you get everything out there. But I think just getting ahead of what's out there about you. I know one client I'm getting ready to start working with, Lisa, you'll appreciate this, but they said, we've got to get our Google up, we've got to get our Google hits up, and we've got to do this, and then I said, yeah, you're right. You got to get ahead of that, and get all he said, we need positive Google out there. So, but I said, that's what you do on social media, what you do.
It helps. It all plays in.
Exactly. Yeah. So you just have to know who you are, and then you have to get ahead of the curve when it comes to what's out there about you. Once you finally, know what to say about yourself.
Well, and I'd say we can jump off that since, and if anybody has questions, I would say, I know we have many of our viewers are viewing outside of Twitter, just through the link right now. And I will say, to participate, you can view from anywhere. But to ask questions or give comments, you need to be logged in through Twitter. If you ever need help setting up a Twitter account, you can get me on Facebook or Twitter, and I can help you with that. But so you need to be logged in on Twitter to ask questions. But anyway, talking about your Google and search, and that all ties into SEO, and I'm not an SEO expert. I will not claim that. However, something that I believe every business, I haven't run into one yet that I have a good reason why they shouldn't do this, but every business needs to be running a blog on their website. Sean's really great about it. I'm a little sporadic myself. I tend to have my client business come first before mine. So I do try to keep my blog up once a month, but Sean is great at publishing blogs, but all that feeds into your SEO and it helps that reach. So if you are in business, no matter what your responsibilities are in that business, if it's not yours, you go to somebody, go to a manager. And if your business is not doing this, you really need it for visibility and great things to blog about. You could do case studies. Yeah. You can talk about new improvements to a product. You can show products. You can give reasons why your product solves, their problem that they might not even know that they have.
I did a great series recently. My mastermind group, there's 5 of us in my mastermind group, and we all, I forget what this guy is, Ryan Dysick, I think is his name. He's a content marketing guru, but he has a lot of stuff on there about blog generation. You've got to keep doing it. 25 posts now. And
repeat that because you dropped off. So repeat all that so we get it on the recording too.
Okay. So recently my mastermind group, we started a project where we help each other create blogs and went through a process. There's a lot of content out there about how to create blogs. And, like I said, sometimes you feel like slugging along going, I got to make the donuts. Every week I got to write something new, and then I got to write on social media and stuff like that. And, that part of my internal service agreement with myself is that I do not miss a week. There's not a week that goes by that I do not either put out a blog or a newsletter. Newsletter, definitely. Sometimes it's a holiday, we won't do a fresh original blog. But so a mastermind group got together and we did, you could ask for quotes from all the other people in the group. You could ask for one piece of advice that you always say. You could do an interview, and we picked one of these different methods to create content. So I did a series of, these are all high-level sales consultants. And so I said, tell me one thing that every salesperson must stop doing immediately. And so I have 4, now I have 4 people who've given me their best advice and contribute to a series that I call Sales Fails. And, it's easy to write around it. I've got other content that goes into it. I tell why I ask, and then I give, points as to how you can avoid those sales fails. So you have to get really creative about how you, can create content, but it also has to fit your strategy, and you have to have a strategy, and you have to execute your strategy, because if you don't, if you're taking on a subject, if you're taking on a topic, if you're using a voice that isn't true to your brand position and your brand promise, people will know and they'll call you out on it. Yeah. I did it once. Never again.
I know. I totally.
We live and we learn.
Exactly. No, I agree so much with that, Sean, because like I was saying, you want to get out there, but you got to be careful, because you have to know what your limitations are and what you do and what you don't. But yeah, absolutely. And one other thing we were talking about case studies, and one thing I dealt with recently that was actually turned out to be successful was, I found a common theme or a common need between 2 clients that they, came together. I was able to kind of bridge them together and have them do a project together. So when you've got different clients, don't necessarily compartmentalize them too much. If you think that there's a need for, one to help the other, it can be a little tricky. Like I said, I was asked by one to negotiate rates with the other, and I had to quickly decline that. Well, I should say, rates to purchase material from them. But it still worked out overall, I think, successfully, that clients can help each other. And if they're, obviously you're probably not going to have clients within the same industry, but they might deal with the same situations. But anyway, if you see a potential need, one has that the other can fill, don't be scared to look at that. And clients, don't be afraid to ask your communications professional to maybe help, you network or partner with other companies that are like-minded or deal with the same kinds of things that you do or can help fill a need in your organization.
Right. And that's what I think it's so important to get out of your office, to get out of your personal space and do some networking and I'm in social media. There's a lot of virtual networking that goes on social media, but you can't only do that. You have to get out and meet people face to face and make those connections and those contacts. It goes hand in hand. We do have a question about what is the beginner tip for keeping track of it all? Hootsuite, mix it up on each social platform or what? And I think you're asking, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you're asking about social media and keeping track of it. And you need a plan, but that plan starts out with a goal. You got to figure out really what your primary goal is. And if you're just getting started, first of all, you need a website. Then you need to figure out where is your market and where is your potential market, and start with that. Don't try to be everywhere. That's not good, and you'll end up spinning your wheels a lot and not really getting any traction anywhere. So, ask some questions, make a plan, figure out what your goal is. I do use Hootsuite. Now, that's just a management dashboard and for scheduling. That has your blog is something totally different though on your website, and so you manage that through your website, and then you can use a scheduler to schedule posts about your blog if you want. Sending out email newsletters is a different monster. You would need a different app for that, really, and there's a bunch of different free ones if you need to go that route, which if you're a small business, you could probably do that.
Yeah, the great thing, y'all hear me? I'm echoing. The great thing today also is, if y'all can hear me, with things like Wix.com, there's so many websites now that offer people the ability to manage their own websites that don't necessarily have to have HTML experience. So I think that's great these days, because you don't have to have a certain high level of experience in web design to manage your website for the most part, and that helps as well. There's a lot of them out there these days.
Right. Sean, I think you were going to say something there.
Yeah, so the message comes first. Who am I talking to? Why do they need me? What do they need to hear from me? Where are they? How are they making decisions? So there's a big piece of strategy that you've got to get to before you even start to talk about tools. Your tools are how you deliver those messages and those strategies. They're the execution piece of it. And then my philosophy is free first. Always use free first until you master, those tools free. Then you can move on, to the upgrades, the paid and stuff like that. LinkedIn people,
that you have to, before you start throwing money out there, you really have to get a handle on your audience and who you want to reach. I've seen all kinds of previous marketing decisions that did not reach the intended audience, and unfortunately cost a lot of money. So you really have to be careful, like you said, Sean, what your message is and who you want to get it to before you start throwing dollars out there.
Yeah, and also, let me. Go ahead, Sean.
Hold on. Well, it's so funny because right now in the days of list building and online marketing and that kind of stuff, we think in terms of I have to grow my list and I have to reach the most people. What's the max reach in order to convert dollars and stuff like that. But I really actually do encourage people to start small. Start with a small Twitter following. Start, before you start looking to add people, nail your messages first, because it's a lot more effective to be, do you want to be shouting in a stadium full of people, or do you want to be, having a conversation with 3 friends in your living room? You can achieve all of it through these messages, but what's more effective when, you've got to figure out what your message is first, and those selling messages You can do that more effectively in your living room than in a stadium full of, screaming people.
Right.
Right. And I speak Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I've been running into all this lately. That stadium full of people may not be real people.
That's true.
There's a lot of that on social media, and it's if you don't have somebody managing it for you and staying on top of that, and you're getting tons of followers that are spam or bots, it is not doing you any good. Those numbers may look really impressive, but your reach is going really to nobody, which is no good. So I'm definitely an advocate for quality over quantity. Quality over quantity. The numbers, don't let numbers fool you when you're looking at a business, especially, and I'll say if you're looking for a social media manager, have a look at their accounts. Have a look at if their numbers and their followers are really big, that's great. And they may all be real, but I have run into so many in my business that do what I do. And I'll say, I'll kind of look and I see some red flags of maybe how many messages they put out on this particular account, but they'll have tens of thousands of followers. Mm-hmm. That usually doesn't add up. And unless you're Jennifer Lopez or something, you're not going to get that many followers that quickly. It's right. Organic growth is very slow. So if you look and you start looking into their followers and looking down that list and see some things that don't look right, take note, because if you're wanting somebody to work with you and work on your accounts, and if they're buying followers or if they're not keeping up with the quality of their followers, then that might not be the best person to work with. I mean, because if they can't do it for themselves, how are they going to do it for you or your brand?
True.
It's, and I'd say this buying followers thing, don't do it. That's all I have to say about that.
No. And they'll try to get you, they'll be asking you to, once you get on there, they're going to be promoting for you to buy 10,000 followers. And it's just, it goes back to being authentic, and it ain't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it is
you want, it doesn't, you want qualified leads. I mean, that's the idea is, numbers are great, but engagement is better. Can you have a conversation with that many people? Or are they following you because you have some sort of great product they can just purchase and it's an innocuous relationship? It's it's a transaction versus engagement. Because, if you've got a service business or something that has a longer sales cycle, or you have to nurture accounts, it's that engagement that is online that leads to those offline opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important too, like you said, Lisa, the quality comes within, if you notice it's as Sean said, free first. If you notice people following you on Twitter that look like potential customers or potential clients, hey, there's your lead. I mean, if they're legit, I mean, just, that's one other outlet that I've even worked with a client recently that doesn't have much money. I said, who's following you? Are they a potential customer? That's where you can start. But like you said,
explore.
Make sure they're legit. And, then if you have 10,000 of them, you can't weed through who's really going to be, the best people to contact for what you do, because you've got so many. And like this, the stadium thing again, and you don't want that, Lisa. So I agree.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's just like, there's a great sort of this woman, she's the queen of social media. Her name is Jill Rowley.
Yeah,
do any of you follow Jill
Rowley?
With her. She says, if you suck offline, you're going to suck online. A lot of the principles are the same. Selling, marketing, PR, communications. They're the same online as they are offline. When you engage with someone on Twitter, they follow you. That's a buying signal. When someone connects with you on LinkedIn, that's a buying signal. When they like a post, that's a buying signal. When you like a post, that's an engagement. Yeah. So it's all it's the same dance. It's just different music.
Mm-hmm. Very good point.
Well, and I'd say on the what'd you say? A buying signal? Is that the term you're using? Okay. And in social media, I know a lot of mine is not about necessarily, and this is more my line of business, but there may be some other businesses that are like that. And you cannot rush the sales cycle.
No.
It's, and I think everybody, from what I've seen the past couple of years, and Sean, you'd probably know better than this, but it seems like that the sales cycle is getting longer for every business. So, be prepared for that. And you can't rush somebody. If you've made a connection across social media, remember it's a relationship first, and work that. And remember, you're talking to a person, like Sean says, it's human to human, but don't rush it. You don't want to be pushy.
It's cultivation.
Well, it is. And it's really funny because I've written about, how sales has changed and why salespeople who, were successful 10, 15, 20 years ago, a lot of them are struggling right now because the sales process actually isn't the thing that's gotten longer. It's the buyer's journey. It's gotten 22% longer in just the past 5 years. The reason being is that the buyer controls their own pace. They're conducting their own research. There's a greater number of influencers as buying doesn't happen in a silo anymore in larger organizations. And the reason those salespeople are struggling is because they don't know how to nurture business. They don't know how to cultivate those relationships through nurturing, through insights, and through value information. They're talking about capabilities. Here's our features. Here's our capabilities. Don't you want to buy it? And so there's a big drop off of the skill salespeople have that worked 10, 15 years ago to the point now where you've got to cultivate relationships with insight and provide value and, be the Sherpa for them, be the team captain, bring all the other departments on board and almost project manage before you even ink the deal. So sales is going through a really tough time right now because a lot of people who've been in sales for a long, long time do not have the personality characteristics to nurture new business.
Yeah.
Well, and so much of it is, social media, I'm a little bit biased here, but you need to be there. You need, and when I say be there, I don't mean just go sign up for a Twitter account or LinkedIn and check it once a year. You're not really there, but give people the opportunity to find you when they're looking for what you have, and to be there and be there to answer their questions and let them know, who you are, what you stand for as far as the business and what you can do for them. It amazes me still how many businesses have a space on social media, push out information, but do absolutely zero listening.
Yeah. It gets a two-way street. It has to be a two-way street because everything's online now. And I've said before, the first thing people are going to do when deciding whether to buy something from you or work with you is get online. And if they see, like I think one of y'all said, if you can't handle your own stuff properly, they're going to wonder how, whether to do business with you or whether you can handle their business properly. So it all goes back to that. You got to make sure you're communicating.
And if it makes you uncomfortable, if you're not the best online or in social media, find somebody to help you or somebody within your company or your business and, and work together. You can be there and not let it scare you and still, give potential clients or customers the opportunity to meet you and ask questions. Just get a little help.
Yeah. And if you're not sure, if you want to know what's going on, what you need to do online, what you need to do on social media. One other thing we've done with case studies, look at your competitors. Get out there and look at your competitors and see what they're doing. If you have to do it in-house, and, that'll give you a little bit of it. Or if you, ask the person who's handling it for you, let's look at what level I need to be on, in order to compete effectively in the marketplace.
Yeah, so. It's not a matter of not advancing by not being online, not being digital, not having a digital footprint, a digital personality or voice. It's not a matter now of just missing opportunities. It's a matter of survival. Your business won't survive if you cannot be visible, vocal, and valuable before you even know people are looking at you. You have to be selling before you even know that people are looking at you. And if you're not doing that, you won't be around in 5 years.
Right. Well, that's what, there's a saying that goes, the return on investment of your social media it's not going anywhere. If you're not on it, your business will not be around in 5 years. It's just, as simple as that, because it's not going anywhere. You might be. You might not be if you're not utilizing it.
And on the same token of that, you may have been around forever, and you may not really want to, grab onto social media or grab onto online marketing, but you better get with the program, because the people, even the smaller, newer businesses coming up behind you are. And you can't always do status quo, even if you've been successful for a long time, because I'm recently dealing with that as well with a client.
I think evolve or die.
Yeah.
You hear that quite a bit. Yep.
Adapt, evolve, or be replaced.
Right. Absolutely. Yes. Well, do y'all we're right over 30 minutes today. Do y'all have anything else? And we got some comments, loving the direction of the conversation. And we're so glad you asked your question. And thank you for joining us. It's always nice for other people to join our conversation. The more, the merrier. We love it because we learn from each other. And I think we learn from our viewers and everything too. It's always nice to have an open discussion. Do y'all have anything to add in our closing as we're closing today? Jana, and I think Sean's, hopefully she'll be back. Jana, do you have anything to add?
I'm here.
Yeah, she's here. Real quickly, I'll just say, it's a new year. Think about your goals for your company or your organization, and think about how you can effectively reach those goals and who you need to help you reach those goals. You can't always, do it on your own, but like we've said, do it at low cost first, and then grow your budget. But just really look at who you are, who you want to be this year, and what's going to get you there, and who's going to get you there.
Right. Sean, closing thoughts?
So much of what we talk about in selling is messaging, and how do selling is actually a competitive advantage. If you can differentiate your offer and your go-to-market strategy, you can profoundly connect with your audience. So what we see, and the message I want anyone to take away from this discussion is claim your message. Decide who you are, what you stand for, and what you want other people to know about you. Because if you don't claim that seat, if you don't plant that flag, you're leaving your position, your brand, your messaging up to everyone else to make their own assumptions. So if you're not out there stating it, planting that flag, and claiming your own territory, your competitors can claim it, and your audience might not even know really what you have to offer. So get your messaging right, figuring out what those selling messages are, and how to differentiate yourself.
Exactly.
Very good. And on that note, my closing is going to be to remind everybody when our next Blabbing Business is. And that's going to be my final message for today. We will be back on Thursday, February 25th. We've switched Blabbing Business from weekly to monthly. And you will be able to find us here every last Thursday of the month, still at 12:30 Central Time. And if you have questions, ideas in the meantime, all three of us are online, and we'd love to get some feedback that you have. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks
ladies.
Thanks. Bye, ladies.
Have a
great day.
You too.
Take care.